Hey everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a workshop on how to prove that partnerships is the best channel. So, what am I going to be talking about today? So, first off, I'm going to talk about why marketing and partnership needs to work together. I'm going to share a little bit of our playbook for driving pipeline numbers through partnerships, and then I'm going to go into how you actually track this stuff and start getting credit for all of the efforts you put into partnerships, both on the marketing and partnership side. So first off, who am I? I'm the head of marketing at Everflow. I'm Michael Cole, and we're a bootstrap company. So everything we've done to this point to get all these customers has been through marketing and partnership that has to ultimately drive revenue. We've never had any outside funding, and we've had to make sure that everything is effective and actually revenue generating. And as a partner marketing platform, everything I'm talking about today is us drinking our own champagne. We use our own platform for all of our partner led marketing efforts and to drive this profitable growth. So, first off, partnerships are a marketing channel. That's not to say that partnership teams have to be under marketing, but partnerships add so much value to marketing and they go hand in hand in so many of the activities that makes partnerships successful. The first off is, as a partner hacker team will tell you over and over again, partnerships offer trust. And that trust is such a key piece to making your marketing effective. If people have heard of you through a partner mentioning you or you being mentioned at a conference or a show, etc., people start to have some familiarity with you. When they see ads or they go and do a Google search and they see you pop up as one of the search results, they engage at such higher rates. That layer of trust that partnerships is providing is so essential to making your marketing effective. And you need to be building this into your go-to-market activities. The second thing is that on the partnership side itself, like so much of partnerships is about fighting inertia. You can sign up all sorts of partners. You can push day in and day out. But unless you have some quick wins, it's really easy to run into inertia where just nothing happens, where people get distracted. They start focusing on other partners. They start working on other tasks. Like to make partnerships happen, you need those quick wins. And the fastest wins are like co-marketing activities, like doing joint webinars, events, case studies, and content. These are all things that put a little feather in the cap of both the partner and marketing teams. And it's just an easy way to get that partnership locked in where you can start doing the more complicated or more like deep asks of like saying like, hey, can you make introductions, etc. The other reason where I think partnerships and marketing is better suited than say like partnerships and sales is that so much of partnerships is about nurturing them, slowly building up the relationship, making them feel like heroes in their own companies. And the problem with sales is that they are very focused on the bottom line revenue and getting in more pipeline, getting more customers. And you can only push your partner so much before they start to burn out or become disinvested. So the great thing about marketing is that there's lots of win-wins where everyone's happy. And that's just such an easier way for partners to be successful. And finally, selfishly from the marketing perspective as a marketing leader, referrals are your highest quality customers. And having those as something you can celebrate in your quarterly numbers really helps with making you look awesome because they're just such higher pipeline stats that marketing really wants to be able to take credit for these partnerships as much as the partnership team does. And just to go a little bit more into that, just look at some of our stats from 2021 of why tracking partner referrals makes marketing look great. So when we looked at the stats, we realized that if it came through a referral, there was a 22% higher closing rate. We had a 10 times higher conversion rate. And then I think the biggest metric of all is that when we looked at how long those customers have lasted, it's 2.2 times higher. So say if a company had a 10-month average retention, if it came through a referral partner, it would be 22 months. Like that's such a higher lifetime value. And you can be so much more aggressive in your marketing if you blend in some of your customers with 2.2 times higher retention. It lets you do all of your marketing activities much more aggressively, and you look so much more like a rock star at your company. So having this partner referrals as a part of something that you're celebrating on the marketing side is super valuable. And I'm going to go into why marketing being invested in partnership matters a lot as well as we go along for partner teams. So before I go into sort of like the tracking attribution side, I want to talk a little bit about sort of how do you get quick wins on your partnership side. And this is good for marketing leaders that are being tasked with starting to launch partnerships. It's great with people that are early in the partnership at their company and are trying to be successful. My main tip is that you always start with the easiest types of partnerships, and then you go to the harder ones to prove out as you go along. So to get into this, one second, let's do a quick taxonomy of sort of what these partners actually look like. So the easiest ones are your biggest fans, and I think that everyone should start going after this market pretty quickly. So your biggest fans are your happiest customers. Anyone who sings your praises, any of your customers are giving you high net promoter scores, any customer that you just know is excitedly talking about you at a conference, you need to get them promoted, motivated, and get them on board with like being able to easily share your brand with their peers and start referring business. This is going to be your quickest win. And it really, really proves out partnerships really quickly of why it matters. And then you can go to these more complicated ones. Other ones is any existing articles and review websites. You want to get those online right away because they are long lasting and pretty easy to set up, and they will just pay dividends over time. Second is strategic partnerships. For this one, I always say start with your integrations. So if you have any integrations, those are going to be your best first strategic partners because you have shared customers. There's a shared story of value. It's an easy win there. But then you can expand out to aligned agencies, any companies that are symbiotic with you. They're going after similar types of customers. Those are great for strategic partnerships. And finally, mercenary marketers. So we'll go into sort of some tips here, but these are affiliates, influencers, resellers, people that tend to be pay to play. When you can crack this, it's super awesome because they tend to work on a performance basis, and you can usually negotiate a performance basis where you're only paying them for results. And that means it's a very low risk channel compared to things like paid ad. It's very sustainable. It moves slower, but once you get it going, it's just going to generate customers month after month, year after year. So as mentioned, start by taking ownership of your biggest fans. And there's a couple ways you can do this. So one, it's very important to just ask. Ask your customers that are happy, hey, do you know of anyone that would benefit from our product or our business? Because the thing is, like, no matter how much they love you, they have 100 other things to do. They're not thinking, oh, hey, let me go promote Everflow. But if you ask them, you're like, hey, I've heard how much you love us. Like, is there anyone else that you think would benefit and would also love us? They're usually really happy to make those recommendations, but you just have to give them a time and place where they're thinking, okay, who do I know that would be a good fit? I'll make those introductions right away. Similar to that, you want to make it as low friction as possible. So give a referral form where they can easily put in the details, and then your team can just reach out to that prospect or that lead and start seeing if there's a good opportunity. You just want to do it like, okay, it's the middle of the night. They're like, oh, shoot, Tom should be talking to Everflow. They have an easy place to go and make that introduction with as little effort on their side as possible, because with these kind of introductions, if they want to make an introduction and they don't do it over the first couple of days, it starts to become a burden. And when it becomes a burden, it piles up and it piles up, and then nothing happens, and then they feel bad about it, and then they don't want to do it. So you need to make it really low friction. And then my final thing here is you want to make sure you have an official referral program, because you want just some people to raise their hand and be like, hey, you didn't reach out to me, but actually I know someone who's a really good fit and I would love to make that introduction. You need to just have some formal program where people can raise their hand and say they want to help you out. All right, so second, strategic partnerships. So the key thing here is that it requires a clear win-win goal that is the easy win that gets a partnership started, that makes that partner person on the other side look successful. So the way you actually do this is, and this is why I think partnerships has gone super buzzy in the last year and is going to be crazy in the next couple of years, is that Crossbeam and the title sponsor for PLX, Reveal, like these companies fundamentally solve one of the biggest challenges with partnerships, which is just sort of like once we decide we want to talk to each other, how do we have that quick, easy win that like proves out the value of it? So with this is an example with Crossbeam in this case, reveals very similar, but it gives you a clear marching order of how to actually be successful. So in this example, so like say one of our like key integration partners is Tipalti. So we can see like, okay, here's our shared customers. We know what is sort of like for those customers, what is the sort of win-win thing that we're giving of like, why is Tipalti plus Everflow better together? We can then reach out to those customers, build a case study, build materials of sort of like why we're better together story. And then the next one is ones that are our customers that are their prospects and ones that are their customers and our prospects. Like there is clear, easy ways to have victories there. So if you know you're better together, then you know that it is comfortable to be like, okay, my customer, I'm happy to make the introduction, or I'm happy to invite them to a webinar where we give that better together story. So that's a clear path towards success. And then the other piece of this is that you can start asking for, oh, who are your champions at that company? Because maybe you've been talking to them, but you're talking to the wrong person. There's another person that your partner is working with who's amazing. You need champions to make these things happen. And going through your partners to find those champions is super powerful. And finally, it's really easy to create content and webinars. And again, as soon as you make that partner feel like they have something that they can brag to their boss, that partnership's going to actually start building. If they have nothing to brag to their boss in the first week or second week, it's just going to sputter out. So I see a question about when you're telling your better together story, are you tailoring it to who you're talking to? Um, so on that, the better together story, I would say keep it simple. Like partnerships, there's a billion things you can do. You want to just make sure that you have a simple, clear path. Like, what is one key thing that we, with our integration partner, are better than we separately? That's going to be your better together story that you use with every single prospect. Some people, it may not resonate, but you want to make sure it's simple because speed is everything here, and getting that initial traction is just so critical. Finally, about mercenary marketers and expanding to affiliates, I'm going to go real quick here. The thing to keep in mind here is that affiliates will never be successful if like you haven't proven that you already know how to convert customers really well. Like once you have a clear game plan, you have amazing assets, amazing landing pages, paid media is working great for you. Affiliates and mercenaries are great because they can just keep adding value at very low risk. It's very sustainable and you can just keep growing at that channel. But you need to prove your own marketing before they get started because affiliates are going to test out your offer. And if they don't see success, they're going to just stop. The other piece of this that I'll keep in mind is that with this, if you're building out an affiliate program, just keep in mind that affiliates, your best affiliates are ones that are really good at your vertical. And if they're really good at your vertical and your competitors have affiliate programs, guess what? They're promoting your competitors. When you're building an affiliate program, you need to make sure that you are positioned against existing affiliate programs. You need to make sure that you are competitive, that you are giving a payout that is juicy, that's going to get those affiliates excited, and they're not going to stop promoting your competitors. Like affiliates can keep scaling when they're making a ton of money. So, but you need to make sure that they are excited to test you and that they are seeing results and that there is a ton of opportunity there. So we'll move on to the next big piece of this, which is how do you actually track this stuff? Because this is the hard part. And the main thing that I want you to keep in mind here is this is one of the reasons why marketing and partnership have to work together is you need standardization there. If you're not doing standardization between marketing and partnership in terms of how you track it, what are the metrics, you're going to run into so many problems where your partnership team is being undervalued and marketing is overvaluing channels that aren't actually driving that much value. So what do I mean by standardization? There's a couple pieces to this. So one, it's just that the way you track has to be the same between marketing and partnerships, because if partners are not being tracked like marketing, when you have traffic coming from partners and it's not being tracked by marketing, marketing's just going to track it under whatever is their default settings. there's an issue there. The other piece is that when you're talking to most types of like introduction coming from partners are informal. So this is like calls, emails, etc. There is no traditional tracking. If someone just mentioned on a call, hey, talk to this company, is there a really good fit? And then I'll make the introduction. That's going to be reflected in your CRM, where the salesperson talks to someone, they say like, oh, hey, Joe introduced this. You need to have a clear way that sales is doing that, where you can pull reporting and that marketing can say like, hey, partnership deserves credit for all this. So how do we actually think about all these different tracking methods? So first off, click tracking is essential. A lot of stuff is not going to be tracked through click tracking, but it is the default for the easiest way to track most stuff. Like when you're doing partnerships, there's going to be lasting links. Whether that's a marketplace placement, an article, mentions on their website, you need to have, for anything ongoing, you need click tracking there. Second one, you need CRMs with a clear standardized way for doing referral sources, and I'll go into how to do this so that all personal conversations are being tracked properly. And you can pull reporting and say like, hey, all of these leads came from these referral partners. Third, email address attribution. This is, I think, something that we consider like super important for our own marketing, is that we can attribute an email address of a lead to the partner that sent it. So when you submit on Everflow, your lead actually gets attributed to the partner channel that delivered it, whether that's a partner, organic, paid ads, etc. Everything that happens after that gets attributed back to that partner. So all the pipeline stages, and more importantly, everything that happens after they become a customer. And this is an essential piece that a lot of partnership teams are missing out on, is if they don't look after the customer, partnerships will always be undervalued. Because remember what I was saying, that partnerships drive 2.2 times retention? Paid ads are always going to drive way more leads than partners ever will. But when you can say like, look at how much more money we're making, look at how longer those customers are lasting, that makes partnerships look like heroes. And both marketing and partnership teams need to celebrate this. An email address is the best way to attribute it back to partners. Promo code tracking. This is good for things like podcasts, all of these sort of like audio or video channels you can do with partners. Promo codes are the best way to track it. Also, influencers, any place where you can't do links, you want promo codes the easy way. For tracking QR codes, I think this is just a fun, cool one. So like offline tracking, there's lots of sort of partnerships that are in the real world that are missing out. Anything like Roku, all these like CTV type things, QR codes are perfect for. And finally, impression tracking, just because, again, that's how you track a lot of marketing channels, and marketing and partnerships needs to track the same way. All right, so tracking links, pretty straightforward. You just need to have some way that you are tracking both organic, paid ads, and partnerships the same way. Tracking links is going to be the easiest way to do that. You're always going to be able to build some links from a partner that's a strategic partner or affiliate, and you need some way to track that, and it needs to not be in conflict with marketing. And the problem is, if they link on their website to your website, like say your partner links to your website, if you're not tracking that on the partners, like on that partner website, marketing is just going to see that user get to their website, and it's going to be attributed to organic. So you need to have some way to track this, and just having tracking link that's shared between marketing partnerships solves this. Second, this is what I was talking about this. You need a manual process for CRM attribution. The way we do this is that we have a referral source. So we have a referral source that is all of the potential partners that you signed up for your referral program that have come in. You need to make sure your partnership team is keeping this updated. It is a physical drop down where there is one choice. You can't let your sales team write it in, because as soon as your sales team write it in, they're going to put the name in 5 different ways with a different company. They're going to like say like Tom from Affleck sent this thing. You'll have no reporting, because without that standardization of this thing of Tom or like Affleck, that needs to be a single dropdown, because once you have it as a single dropdown, you can pull reports in HubSpot or Salesforce to say like, okay, how many referrals partners, like how many referrals did we get from Affleck? Like the dropdown allows this. And the other piece of this is having some way to keep this updated. So there's always going to be new referral partners. Your sales team are going to build up new relationships. Everyone's going to build up new relationships. Just have some process where they can manually type in a name, but then your partnership team is updating the dropdown. Because once you have in the dropdown, you have reporting around it in your CRM, and that allows you to have this solution for these communication issues. There's a question of, are all tracking link solutions created equal? Definitely not. So I think the biggest thing about this is that, especially like for affiliate networks, they traditionally use a redirect link where a user clicks, they are sent to a page where it drops a third-party cookie, and then it's redirected to the final destination. There's two issues with that. One, third-party cookies, they're super unreliable now. Most of the browsers are blocking them, so you're going to have a lot of leakage. The second thing that is essential, like is a huge problem with that method, is that you cannot use redirect links with Facebook or Google or any of your paid ad channels because they will block redirects. So if you're using a method like that, marketing can never track the same way as, say, affiliates. The way we do it is a thing called direct linking, where the user is actually tracked when they get to your website, more like Google Analytics. And because all of the links are going straight to your website, you're not having any of that redirects things where you're getting a ton of leakage, and you can start tracking your paid ads as well. This allows paid ads and like marketing and partnerships to like talk together correctly. So the final piece of this, I mentioned this a few times before, but I want to go into a little bit, is like, do you know the true value of your partnerships? To really measure this, you need to be looking at more than just, did I get a lead? So there's a couple different pieces to that. First off, you want to look at engagement. So these are quick metrics that are easy wins. Like, did this traffic source send a user who checked out my white paper or visited my pricing page? So I call these engagement metrics. The reason for this is that it lets you see which partners and which traffic sources are driving engagement. So engagement is a key piece of this, because a lot of times, like, partners, they're not actually they're not sending users that are ready to buy from you. A lot of times the partner is sending someone who's discovering your brand for the first time. They're in the learning mode. They're not going to just immediately sign up for lead. They're going to go do their research. They're going to leave your website. You want to capture these quick metrics who's saying, like, of all of my marketing partnerships, who's sending users who are starting to engage with my website to learn more? Because that's a really good sign of like where to focus your efforts. And again, partnerships, there's a billion things you can do. You want to focus on the partners that are actually driving engaged users. So track engagement. Next up, obviously, lead is like an essential metric, but you want to look at all those pipeline stages too, because you might have a partner sending you a lot of leads, but if they're completely unaligned with your product and solution, they're not going to progress down your pipeline stages, and you're wasting your time on a vanity metric of leads. So you want to make sure that all your CRM's integrated, you're getting all those pipeline stages. And then, as mentioned before, you need to focus on what happens after they become a customer. So looking at things like, did they expand? Did they did upgrades? Did they add new modules? These are key metrics that you let you understand who is actually driving value, because partnership will be lower volume than most marketing channels, but partnerships are way higher value than most marketing channels. So look at that expansion metric, and then look at your retention metric. Did they renew for another month? Did they renew for another year? Paid ads, you're going to get way more customers, but they're not going to last as long as a partner-led referral where there's trust, they are warmed up, they have people that they know believe in your brand. You need to have this attributed to your partners to really get credit and to start getting, say, promotions in your company, because you can say, like, partnerships is killing it, marketing plus partnerships is killing it, let's scale this to the next level. All right. So final piece here, just make sure it's easy for your partnerships to scale. So there's a couple pieces to this. For partners to be successful, they need to have some transparency into what's happening. So they need a reporting dashboard where they can log in, they can see how many people they've sent you, they can see what's happening there. Are they progressing during pipeline? Are they engaging? These are quick things that partner person sees that motivates them to ramp up their efforts, because they know that they're not wasting their time, that they're creating real wins, and that you on your side are also going to push that partnership hard and make that partnership manager successful. Because again, if you're showing them that you're getting a lot of wins from their traffic, you're going to do more stuff with them. Both sides are going to win the situation. Second thing, you need to make sure that's really easy for them to get tracking, that you are providing them with everything they need with minimum friction, because any friction point will just kill so many partnerships. Because until there is a big win, it's really easy that people get distracted and nothing will happen. And the final thing is you got to make sure that you pay them consistently with competitive payouts. So having an easy way to make payments happen is essential for scaling these partnerships. And the other piece of payments is that finance hates paying 100 partners because it's outside of their own division. It's a lot of different vendors. It's a ton of work. So having a clear, easy way to pay all your platforms is amazing. So that's it. If there's any other questions, happy to answer them. If you want to learn more about Everflow, you can check out our booth. We're happy to answer any of your questions, show you how you actually execute this within our platform, and answer anything about like tracking challenges or how we've done our own partner-led marketing to grow to this point. Sweet. All right. Thanks, everyone.